Please allow me first to express my deep thanks to the conference organizers for their invitation and the support to make my trip possible to Vienna. And also, I want to express my appreciation that we have heard so much over the last 2 days, the presentation about the I assure you that we have listened very carefully, very close about the research by our European colleagues in terms of fertility situation in Europe, and which I think will make a big difference to our studies in the Chinese situation. What I'm going to talk today to you is, as I said, why is total fertility rate in China so low? This has been a question for quite a while in China and also to some degree internationally. This is my paper co-authored with my colleague, Professor Ho, over there in the corner. Yeah. Given the overall situation, as you see, as usually the transition in China first started as a mortality decline in the 1950s, and birth rate remained so high, and population growth accelerates. Then the mortality stabilized at a quite low level, and birth rate started to decline, and population growth also slowed down. And now, finally, we have low birth rate, also low death rate, and as a result, the growth rate is low too. In terms of the fertility situation, China was at the level 4, 5, or 6 children per woman in the 1950s and 60s, and come downward in the 70s to close to the replacement. Then further dropped below replacement in the early 1990s. Now it has been more than 20 years at the level much below replacement. Given the situation, Chinese government finally decided to change its policy. In 2013, allowed the one side of the couple as a single child to have 2 children. It's what we call a partial relaxation from one-child policy. And immediately after 2 years, in 2015, another decision allowed all the couples to have 2 children. This marks the end of the 35 years long one-child policy in China. However, the debate continues because the census report, the TFR, very low. In 2000, it's 1.22, and 2010 reported 1.18, and 2015, which is the 1% sample survey we call the mini census, in between 2 censuses, is even lower, 1.05. All the reaction was very strong, and many people think this should not be possible. So the factually, China's fertility not so low. This does not reflect the reality. Another reaction is it cannot be so low, given the development level of China, particularly the vast rural areas. And third, we regard this as simply a distortion because of tempo effect. Does not reflect the real fertility of Chinese population. Given the situation, all kinds of alternative data sets mobilized, and all the development methods available applied, trying to overcome possible static errors and possible underreportings. So fertility level much adjusted. The adjusted level show in 2000 should be around 1.8 rather than what census reported 1.2. And for 2010, should be around 1.7 rather than census reported 1.18. And for 2015, should be around 1.6 rather than census reported 1.05. This adjusted line, you see, is much higher than what is originally reported from census. It's about 40 to 60% higher. But even so high, much higher adjusted, still far below replacement. Still show a downward trend of fertility. Still not the answer. Why is it so low? This we try to do in our paper. We argue TFR is a period matter. And the period matter is a sum of the age-specific fertility for women aged 15 to 49, as you all know. In this sense, this is a real picture of the childbearing behavior of the woman during the given period. It is a true outcome of the childbearing by the woman in that period. And we also want to see this change in TFR is due to changes in age-specific fertility rate. So we want to use a decomposition approach to detect why TFR changed and why TFR is so low. So quick. As the study in Europe suggests to us, the fluctuation of low fertility in our society is due to the dynamics between postpartum and recuperation. It's arguable postpartum more likely occur among young women in the 20s, and the recuperation is more likely occur among women, older women in the 1930s. So it can be reflected in the age-specific fertility in the 30s. So we decompose the TFR into the changes in age-specific fertility. We also want to see if any possible effect of the 2013 the fertility policy change, if we can detect from our analysis. This shows you, this is the age-specific fertility rate. This is, we calculated the composition of each age group as the proportion of the overall fertility in the year. And the right side is the change of the age spectrum over the period. You can see here that the prime age of childbearing, the fertility rate changed from more than 100 to 55. It's almost half reduction in the period of 15 years. It was accountable for half of the annual fertility to only 1/4 of the fertility. And of course, we see some upward change in the age group 30 to 34, from 11 to 12. So this, from TFR from 1.22 to 1.18, it's a 0.04 change, is due to the postponement reduction in the young age and upward change of the old age groups. More so, we see here, for the period 2010 to 2015, all the age groups is negative in change, which means no recuperation, only reduction in the young age, there are some upward, but not so much. And this proportional change for the 20 to 24 group from 50% to only 1/3 of the total, and the older group 30 to 34 increased a bit. Now we ask the question, how about if there's no recuperation at all, only postpone? What will happen in total fertility rate? So we assume all these age group from 35 to 49 remain the same as the same level in 2000. So the change is 0. You see here, if there's no recuperation to compensate the postponement, the fertility will be even lower, even less than 1. Of course, we could, South Korea now is less than 1. It happened. It can be happen in the China case as well. This we can look at by urban. Urban reduced much from half. It's 40% to only 20% of the total, and then we can see some recuperation there, even during the period of the policy change. So this is the positive rather than in the previous chart showed the negative. And in rural area, even no effect of the policy change at all. Even after the 2013, this year graphically, we can show this by parity. This parity 1 in 2000, almost 90% of the first births occurred among women during the 20s, but now reduced only 70% in the period. And we also see some upward change in the first births over the period. And these second births can be seen some effect of a policy change for the second birth, become that the positive. This shows graphically, the third parity 3 and above, you see that these are the very negligible because there's not much high parity births at all. So we don't see much change. So this should be seen as insignificant. To support our findings, we again use the annual data from 2000 to 2016 to see how the change in the age-specific fertility rate showed a very consistent trend as we suggested from the census analysis. For the 20 to 24, come downward. For the 30 to 34, some increase. And proportional is the same. For the 20 to 24, come downward, and the 30 to 30. So annual data showed a very consistent trend as suggested by the census data. Or the downward change in fertility rate in the 20s suggests postponement, and the upward change in the fertility rate in the 30s suggests a recuperation. We see more changes over the period of 2000 to 2010 than in the 2010 to 2015. The effect of policy change in 2013 seems very minor. Overall, we see the post-movement in the policy fertility change is so strong. On the other hand, the recuperation some, but very weak. As a result, we can see inevitably China fertility will continue to go downward. Will China follow the footsteps of South Korea? That to be seen in the forthcoming census 2020.